So today I want to talk about static site generators and not just static site generators, but I also want to talk about different CMS static site generators I tried in the past 2 or 3 years. Now, around 3 years ago, I came to know about one movement, or maybe you want to call it as maybe a project called IndieWeb. Now, I have talked about this quite a lot. So, IndieWeb is all about owning your own content, and basically, we all use Facebook, Twitter, we all use Google services, we all are dependent on these big corporate companies, and we share a lot of our data with them. In fact, we keep our data with them, and I think it is not really a great thing. You should be independent. So if you just have a website where you can store your own content, where you can maybe store your own photographs that you want to share with others, maybe you have a place where you can write about things. So IndieWeb is all about giving you ideas about how you can achieve it, and of course they have a. It is not just about having a website, but when you're trying to, let us say, share a content, maybe you want to share it in a specific format so that it can be easily shared with others. So you can, of course, learn about how IndieWeb works. And if you go through their website, they are talking about specific tags that you should be using. Let us say if you want to share an image, or maybe if you want to write, maybe if you want to share a podcast, you need to use certain tags, certain HTML tags, which is not really complicated. And when you have your own website, you can of course do it with just HTML. But I also wanted to basically, explore uh, other options when it comes to creating a website. Now, I have been using Drupal for many years, and my website, ravisagar.in, is in Drupal. It is, of course, one of the websites that I have. I have, I think, many, many other websites. All of them, 99% of them are in Drupal. And the reason is that I love working on Drupal. Drupal is great. Drupal is open source. I'm quite comfortable working in Drupal. I can build not just a simple site, but I can build a complicated site in Drupal. Now, Drupal is great, but Drupal may not be the best option for doing simple things. What if you just want to have a website where you just want to share content? Maybe you want to write blog, or maybe few other things. Then you can also use WordPress. But I never really bothered using WordPress because WordPress is again a CMS, and I didn't really want to spend time and energy learning a new CMS. Although I can build a website in WordPress, but uh, building a website is different from knowing WordPress really well. So around 3 years ago, I started exploring a simpler way for building a website, not just in HTML, but using some kind of a CMS or some kind of a framework. Now I came to know about static site generators. Static site generators are great. You can store content, or you can write content in text files, and using these static site generators, you can build really nice websites. That is, of course, using your files stored on your local computer, just text files, and there is no database involved. So the first static site generator that I tried was Hugo. If you search Hugo on the internet, you can learn more about how it works, and I quite like the idea. There is a very popular static site generator called Jekyll. I don't know how to pronounce it, but if you are thinking of, let us say, building a static site generator, Jekyll is a good option. You can always go to github.com and you can use GitHub Pages, which I believe is based on Jekyll. I didn't really try it, but I think they use this framework, this static site generator. But I never really used it for my personal site, but I just wanted to share it. Now, Hugo is one good option. I tried it and I quite liked it. I used this site. I didn't really maintain it for a long time, but I did write a lot of content on this Hugo. So it is all about writing or creating a text file on your local computer. Then you commit it, and when you commit it, you can also use service like Netlify. So if you want to, let us say, host your site for free, you can use Netlify, and what it can do, Netlify can pick up the new changes, new files that you're committing to your repository, and it will also publish it for you. So this particular subdomain, hugo.ravi.pro, is something that I tried for few months, but I got bored. Then I also tried Grav. Now Grav is quite powerful. It is basically not just it is not really a static site generator, but it is a flat file CMS. So basically, it is a CMS. It comes with a backend, which is optional, but you can have a backend, and it requires PHP. So for running, usually for hosting your static site generators, you don't really need any server side scripting. You can just have HTML. It will generate HTML files, and that is it. But for Graph, you need PHP. So it is based on PHP, but it is still fine because there is no database. So everything is still stored in plain text files. So I built this site, Jira.training, in Graph, and it is quite good. And I quite like it. They have they have plenty of themes. You can take a look at their themes. You can take a look at how it works. I personally quite like Grav. It is, if I have to rate, it is probably, I find it slightly better for me, of course, than Hugo. Uh, so you can take a look at Grav if you want. I also want to mention something called as a known. So known is also a CMS. It is not a static site generator. It is also not a static flat file CMS. But known is one CMS which is in compliance with the indie web. So in case you let us say you like indie web concept, you like the concept of sharing everything on your own website with proper standards that they recommend, you can take a look at Known. And Known is a very good CMS. It is, of course, based on PHP and MySQL, but when you install Known, it comes with all the or most of the indie web features inbuilt, which is quite amazing. So I actually built one site on my domain, which is sagar.ravi.pro, of course, only for testing. And I did, try it for a few months. Then I of course got bored. So it is fine. I mean, at least I tried it, and eventually I settled with nothing but plain HTML files, a simple site which I can maintain not by writing HTML but by using org mode. Now, if you want to know how org mode works, you can go to my channel and you can search for different videos on this topic. So if you, let us say, search something like Emacs or maybe org mode on my channel, I have talked about a lot of I have shared a lot of tutorials, a lot of things on basically publishing a website using org mode, and I think I will stick to it. In fact, I moved a couple of my old Drupal sites like linuxindia.com and autogrid uh, autogrid.info from Drupal to or mode, and I think I'll probably settle with this because I am quite happy with uh, the speed. I can share content easily, so I can write. Let us say I use org mode. So in case you don't know what is org mode is basically all about organizing your life in plain text. It is not just plain text, but you can also do things like you can uh, maintain your to-do list. You can also plan your work. It is like a mini project management system. all within your computer using text files. But you can also publish a website. So whenever I have something, so I use org mode on my local computer, and I'm always taking notes. I'm always, whenever I'm doing something, I keep a note of it somewhere, which is of course in org mode. And if I have to share something, I can easily share it as well by publishing it on these websites. So basically, from my computer, I convert my text files into HTML, and then when I commit it, they are published as a blog here on the site. And I'm using GitLab. So you don't have to use GitLab, but of course, GitLab is free, and my code is still saved in a code repository, in a Git repository, which I always have the option to host it on my own server, which I can do. But uh, since I was using GitLab for the code repository for my repository, so I thought why not also use them for hosting. So if you want to learn how to do it, you can you can search for the videos that I made on hosting your website for free on GitLab. So I just want to share some things, share a few concepts, not really concept, but few different techniques of hosting your own website. And I think in 2020, if you are thinking of sharing something online, I think you should all have your own website, because when you have your own website, you're not really bothered with uh, getting your content blocked by someone. You can always share your content, your thoughts, your ideas freely on your own website. And of course, your content is always with you. So I think having your own website is probably the best thing that you can do. And you should all have your own website. And it is all about buying a domain name and hosting it somewhere. You can host it on GitLab if you don't really want to spend money, but I think ideally you should all have your own server. So I hope this video made sense, and you learned something new today. So I'll end this video, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye bye.